Over the last couple of days, I've rolled with a solid blue belt student of mine several times, and I started noticing some clear patterns of weaknesses that he just wasn't really picking up on. And so every time I would get around his legs and settle into a side control position, his game would just completely disappear. I would watch his calm and cool demeanor just tend to vanish, and he would just thrash around and survive until the round ended. And then afterwards, he came up to me very frustrated and said, "Coach, I know I have to get out, but I use so much energy and my escapes are so bad. It's going to take me forever to learn them and to get good at all these escapes." And really, this conversation got me thinking it's not about being great at every escape. It's really about acknowledging which areas are the most glaring weaknesses that an opponent could exploit, because that's really what I was doing to him. But what if the solution wasn't to spend a year trying to become a master escape artist? What if the solution was much simpler? So in this video, that's exactly what we're going to cover. We're going to dive into how to stop avoiding your weaknesses and how to start using a smarter and practical approach to turn these weaknesses into some of your biggest opportunities for growth. So we're going to get into it right now. As a quick plug, join me live Saturday, August 23rd, as I will be doing a free case study breakdown of a student who was struggling to develop their game. So we'll go through exactly how they did this in just a 90-day timeline. So make sure you click the registration link down below. That way your spot is reserved, and I'll hopefully see you there. So let's start rethinking how you're going to improve as a grappler. So for far too long, I had this common belief that one day all of my weaknesses would just turn magically into world-class strengths. Now, while that utopian vision of mine really sounded good in theory, I eventually found it very tiring and pointless, because trying to master every part of jiu-jitsu simultaneously is not only exhausting, but it's honestly unnecessary. Instead, a much more powerful and effective approach that has worked better for myself and my students is really to focus on bringing your weaknesses up to baseline or even just slightly better. This change of thinking has accelerated my students' game like never before. Think about it. If an opponent is always taking advantage of your clear weaknesses, whether that's a weak guard, poor escapes, or bad defenses, you are giving them an easy advantage point or a target to aim for. So these weaknesses become a simple way for them to control and dictate the overall pace. By simply raising your weaknesses from being bad to okay, you can completely remove these easiest targets. And this really forces your opponents to have to try harder to hunt for new or less obvious openings. And so this completely ruins their initial attack strategy. Now, you could imagine your game also being like a chain link fence. So your fence might have multiple chains that are broken in it, which could cause the whole structure to be compromised. But if you're able just to simply tie them together with a small zip tie, the whole fence would be able to withstand a pressure of a big storm. So you wouldn't need to weld all of them back together to make them perfect. This exact same thing happens when you fix a major weakness in your game. It creates a strong ripple effect that elevates your entire performance. Your confidence will greatly increase, not just in the specific area, but in your overall ability to play and enact your game. This lets you make clearer and more confident choices, even when under intense pressure, a live rolling, or competition. Now, most importantly, your opponent's easiest targets are significantly decreased, allowing you more chances to use your existing strengths. So the days of them getting those easy submissions or dominating certain positions should now be limited, making them have to work harder, think faster, and adjust quicker to you, putting that pressure back on them. Now that you understand why it's so important to address these weaknesses, let's look at how to start identifying them. Now, I personally believe the best place to conduct this research for 99% of students is in the training room and not a competitive setting. Think of competition as the final exam. While they are great for measuring your refined skills for those who can impose maybe one strength more effectively than the other, it's challenging to get a complete 360-degree assessment regarding all aspects of your current game. Basically, a competitive setting usually only provides little clips of an entire movie. It's really hard to understand the full story of a movie only from these short clips. You can use your various types of training partners during live training in the gym to help, sort of like diagnostic tools. So, your training partners normally provide a range of resistance levels to effectively evaluate your overall game. And so, this means you'll have to focus on giving deliberate effort on researching rather than just trying to win while training. So, use your valuable training time to accurately identify which areas of your game are truly underdeveloped. This focused effort gives you the best and quickest way to uncover where your biggest holes are located. Now, for those of you who aren't sure how to start this assessment process, I've created a free tool for you called the Jiu-Jitsu Game Plan Generator. This is a practical checklist based upon the GRIPS framework that I teach to my students. It's really designed to help you build your game around 5 core components. So we can use that as a good starting point to begin the evaluation process. So get your own free copy down in the description below. So when you intentionally focus on identifying your own weaknesses, you should by definition be putting yourself in situations where your skills are going to be less developed. This deliberate vulnerability will most likely lead to a temporary drop in your performance in the training room. But guess what? Get over it. Who cares if you get submitted or feel uncomfortable in these bad spots? This natural discomfort isn't failure. It's a clear sign that you're committed to achieving growth. It's that tangible feeling of pushing past your limits and entering into new territory. This concentrated and deliberate practice on finding your specific weaknesses is without a doubt one of the single most impactful activities you can undertake. This level of intense focus effort is something many students are just too scared to undertake. How about it? Are you? Let me know down in the comments below. Are you accurately aware of your current biggest weaknesses? Do you think you could give yourself an accurate score on where you're strong and where you're weak? Let me know down in the comments below. Now that you know what parts of your jiu-jitsu game might need some work, one of the most important steps to fixing them is to have the right mindset around the continuous development. Your jiu-jitsu journey isn't a fixed end goal. It's always changing. Trying to rush or master everything or thinking that's even possible might even be what's holding you back. Instead, I suggest adopting what we call the scaffolding mindset. So imagine your jiu-jitsu game not as a statue that needs to be hurried up and finished, but as a building that's always under construction and surrounded by scaffolding. This scaffolding represents how to think about your ongoing development, how you're always learning, evolving, and improving your skills. Jiu-jitsu itself is always changing. New techniques appear, new trends emerge, opponents improve, and your own understanding of the art deepens with every roll and every lesson. The biggest mistake to avoid, which can severely slow or stop your progress altogether, is to think that you can tear down your scaffolding. I normally see this when students get too comfortable after reaching a certain skill level or feel certain areas are proficient. It's dangerous to believe that your game is good enough, which effectively closes you off to more improvement. Real continuous improvement requires you to always be open to carefully assessing what areas could be better, even your strengths. A master of anything consistently refines their best techniques, always looking for those tiny gains and new ways to push them forward. If you adopt the scaffolding mindset, you'll become adaptable, build resilience, and ensure your game always stays sharp against the ever-changing landscape of jiu-jitsu. It's a philosophy focused on always being a student and always striving to be better, stronger, and more complete. So today we've broken down the entire framework for you. This isn't about magical overnight fixes. It's about fundamentally shifting in your approach. You must first have a practical goal for improvement, aiming to bring weaknesses up to baseline or better. Then you must invest in your training time smarter, using your gym as a laboratory or deliberate and precise work on those weaknesses. Finally, adopt the scaffolding mindset, acknowledging that your game is never finished and you're always going to be a student. When you put these 3 things together, You stop avoiding your weaknesses and you start transforming them into your biggest assets. You stop training harder and you start training smarter. If you want to see how one of my students translated this theory into real application, join me live on Saturday, August 23rd, where I'll be breaking down a student case study on how they went from feeling totally lost and overwhelmed to having clear, strategic, and a personalized jiu-jitsu game in just 90 days. So this transformation is possible even for you as well. So make sure you join me live on Saturday, August 23rd. Make sure you click the link in the description to register for this free event. Spaces are limited. So don't keep avoiding your weaknesses. Don't let your jiu-jitsu stagnate. Make sure you reserve your spot now, and I'll see you there. If you got value out of today's video, make sure you give this video a like. Also, make sure you're subscribed. The bell icon is turned on. That way you never miss the latest video whenever it comes out. If you're interested, stick around, check out one of these two videos right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.